All right, so I decided I was just going to do a quick tutorial on how I would go about doing a stair. I'm just going to do a stair like section slash elevation going from the basement level to the first floor. And so what I would start doing is striking this dimension. So just figuring out what your distance is from your top of slab to your top of first floor. So we have our dimension, and so usually I just use like a calculator, but I will use, oh, that's really big. Let's see. I will use this, hopefully, so that you can see kind of what I'm doing. So anyway, so we have 9 feet. So 9 feet times 12 inches for each foot is 108 inches, plus 7 equals 115. And then 7/16 is not going to work on this calculator, but okay, plus 0.4375, and that is for the 7/16. So equals, so that is our total height in inches. I just convert it all to inches so you can divide it. And then it's kind of a little bit like a guessing game, but you get better at it, figuring out like how many risers you think are it's gonna take to get from this floor. But I know that it's gonna take 15. So divide that number um, by 15 risers, and this tells me what my actual riser height needs to be. Um, let's see. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that tells me what my actual riser height needs to be. Because this is residential, I'm assuming that they're using the 8.25-inch maximum. And so I could also have, I divided this by 14 before, and my riser height was above the 8.25 maximum. So this is, yes, it's lower than the 8.25 maximum, but it is not exceeding it, so it works. So anyways, so I usually use a P line, but you could also just use the line. I prefer the P line to connect things easily, so I'm gonna go up by this amount. Um, I would also definitely round this. So let me round this quick. So I'm gonna round this to 7.696 versus all of those decimal places. So new line, and go up 7.696, enter, and that gives me my riser height. And then I know that my tread is going to be 9, so enter, and there I have a stair. So later on, if you want, you can go in and make it look better, but for now, that's it. So, and then I just copy this. I need to shift it up just a little bit. So move that up. Until it's on top of this slab. This is like my stair 1. And then I just keep on adding until I reach my first floor height. So kind of redundant, but there we go. And so we're reaching our first floor height. Okay, and then the next step I typically would do is I would actually join all of these stairs. I'm not actually gonna join that one because in real life you might just step right up to the well, we'll just keep that for now, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna draw a line from the top. So this we're kind of getting the slope of the stair. And then we are going to use our offset command. We're going to offset the distance of the board that they typically cut these stairs out of, which is typically a 2x12. So we're going to do offset and 11 1/4 because that's the size of a 2x12. Enter. offset. We can delete this line. And so just picture this being a 2x12 and they notch out all the spots for the stairs. And then I typically, for just getting everything going, I just do that. And then I extend, enter, and extend it. And then I might trim just to, yeah, accomplish that. So there you have a stair with risers. But yeah, the AutoCAD likes to make it in, I guess, 16ths. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's fine. It's at 16ths, but yeah, anyway, so it's that riser height. And then our runs are 9 inches, and they are consistent. You always want your risers to be consistent. I can double check, but I believe that they cannot exceed 3/8 inch difference for your riser heights. And so it's really important that you calculate your riser height so that you know exactly. Um, you can't just like plug in 8 1/4 or 7 inch. You have to like figure out what would actually work for this specific job. I am sending you also some code info that helps with like the finish. A lot of times, honestly, with jobs, I just will draw the stair like this and leave it at that. If you need more detailed, sometimes they will have you, let me just actually pull over the code in this video. I think that would be more helpful. Me drawing everything out. Bear with me here. Let's see. Um, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. I can pop this over. Maybe not. Sorry, I was um trying to bring over. There you go. Okay. So this is the 2021 IRC code. It's the one that I think has the most helpful info here. But it's just showing that like sometimes people will want their treads to show, if that makes sense. So this is showing that from if you are showing your like a finished tread, um, you typically round it and then it's showing that you can only have 10-inch minimum depth from the nose to nose. And this is a little bit unique, the 7 3/4 inch max. I'm not, yeah. So anyways, thus looking at the code is great because you can get all of the info for specific jobs. Typically, residential jobs, at least that with Dan, I'm not sure about with Zach, but typically from the jobs that I have worked on, residential jobs prefer to use the 8 1/4 rise, 9-inch run, purely because it takes up less space. Whereas the commercial jobs like to use the 7-inch rise, 11-inch run. I think it's for safety reasons, just to prevent falls and things like that. So anyways, that is kind of like a quick rundown of stairs. Hopefully that was helpful. And so essentially when you're doing the stairs for the exterior elevations, you would do the same thing. You would just find this distance of the grade to the top of slab or porch or anything, calculate it using the calculations that I did here. So you make the feet into inches, and then you add everything up until you have your inches amount, and then you just divide that distance by however many risers you think. So here I would honestly probably assume maybe 1 or 2 treads. And so I would probably start by dividing by 2, and then see what my riser is and then make a decision based off of that. Anyways, please feel free to send me questions. I don't know how helpful that was, but that is kind of my quick rundown of how I would go about stairs.